I'm Tamara Podemsky. I am an actress.
My name is Zahn McClarnon.
My name is Atticus Todd.
Gregory Zaragoza.
I'm Rihanna Zaragoza. I'm 17 years old.
Tukala Clifford Emachiapalo.
Hey, I'm Lavon Ray Andrews.
Irene Bedard.
I'm Kimberly Norse Guerrero.
When I was a kid, I loved television, film. I loved it. And acting seemed like something that real people didn't do. That was not a job that actual people could do. It was like having superpowers or being born the son of a president, right? That's not what regular people do.
We didn't get a lot of films back in Idabel because we only had one theater and they only opened it up 2 nights a week, but television was really important to me. And when I found out they made television shows where UCLA was, I'm like, I'm done. So I was like, I think 6 years old, and I'm like, I'm gonna go UCLA, Mama. I'm going to UCLA.
I was so determined when I first got here. I remember when I left Carmel area, I ran a beauty salon there for 21 years, and one of my clients said to me, Lavon, do you realize that you're going into the hardest business that there is? It's the hardest thing you'll ever do? And I said, no, I've already done the hardest thing that ever was. And she said, what's that? And I said, reared 4 children by myself.
I never went to college. And I always felt kind of intimidated by that, you know, that you've got to be educated and understand that language. So I finally committed to, okay, I'll do a workshop with this other actor. And we went in there and created an afternoon workshop for these high school kids. And it was basically the same kind of activities you do with drunks and addicts, but it's not a room full of drunks and addicts, a bunch of kids. It was pretty easy work, actually, compared to group therapy. But that was the thing that I understood, is it's about humans, relationship. What are we doing as humans? We tell stories, we interact. You know, art becomes life, life becomes art. That kind of thing. That was the epiphany I got out of that. And then I just try to put that into my work.
For me, that's really what I think of myself as an actor, is that I'm just a storyteller. It's a traditional thing, but I just happen to do it on film and television now. I mean, we used to sit around a fire, and that flickering light was there, and we told stories in a circle. Well, now we sit around the fire of the television and the big screen.
My grandfather was in a show called How the West Was Won, and he was pushed to the back, even though he was a real American Indian that really was from the people that they were portraying in this movie. He was pushed to the back, and an Italian man got to play the chief. I felt that it was necessary for me to go out and try to bring an ability for someone after me to step up, to be able to take those roles. And I was so amazed when I actually got the first principal role that I ever got inside of a real movie.
I knew my father his whole life. If anybody should have been an actor, he should have been him. He was always an actor at heart, you know, and that's where I found it. I'm licensed as a California lawyer, licensed as a New York lawyer. I have a master's. My brother and sister are both lawyers. My dad pushed that, education, always pushed education. I got all these degrees, but it doesn't matter, because my passion is devoted to the acting. My first major role was Last Mohicans. I really didn't find acting until so my dad was a big part of my life, and he never got to see me act.
When I was little, my dad was on Broadway. He was in Annie Get Your Gun. And I was always backstage, and he would bring me out for like the meet and greets and like sit me on his lap. And that's, I guess, the reason I love acting, and my favorite part about acting is just expressing how I feel through someone else, or, you know, through a character, through anything.
One interesting moment was when my mother-in-law saw me in Annie Get Your Gun, playing Chief Sitting Bull on Broadway. And she said, why did they write this role for Greg? I mean, because my humor was there, everything. So that made me realize that, yeah, you're seeing me on stage as that character, but with my humor, my dignity, my sense of self, my sense of the way the world should be.
I feel like right now, almost like I'm living in a Renaissance type of time. There's movies like Avatar coming out, and Twilight, and there's Chaske Spencer, on the movie screen, who's an Indian boy that I knew.
I had seen sort of some of the scratch stuff for Pocahontas beforehand, but the first time I saw the full entire thing was in Central Park with 110,000 people. The world's largest premiere ever in the history of filmmaking. It blew my mind, it really did. And they had train boxcars welded together 3 stories high to build the screen. And I'm looking up at the big screen, and my brothers and my husband keep going, "I've seen that face." And I'm like, leave me alone. That feeling like of being the shy girl from Alaska, comes over me like, oh, golly.
I'm an actor. I'm not a Native American actor. I'm an actor, but I was working. And so when I got the Seinfeld call, I was thrilled because up until that point, it had been buckskin and feathers for me. I saw the other girls that were in for the callback, and I hate to say it, but I walked in there and I'm like, I got this. And you're literally 3 feet from Larry David and Jerry Seinfeld, and I was with the reader saying, "You mean like an Indian giver?" It was awesome, and the entire room just falls out because that's your life, you live that. And I believe comedy is the great equalizer. Seinfeld is seminal. It's a blessing to get to be a part of that, and a blessing to get out there and swap comedy bits with the best.
When I went in for the audition for The Shield, and that room was packed, there was every possible race, every possible size. I mean, there was no 2 guys that looked the same there. So when I booked that sucker, I knew that was just because of my performance. And that was a fantastic feeling, fantastic feeling.
He didn't settle for the original casting log that he got of these are our actors, these are who you have to choose from.
One commercial that I did, they had no idea of even thinking about casting a Native woman. And when I went in with my long hair, the woman asked me what it was like to have my hair long and what it looked like when it was down. And I took it down, and all of a sudden she thought, maybe. And I told her I was honoring my Native roots by having it long. And she said, oh, well, maybe we'll cast a Native in this. And she did.
But dream role would be a romantic lead, would be, you know what I mean? I play the bad guy and the uptight Native guy all the time, somebody that has just different levels, somebody who falls in love with somebody who has real emotions, that feels for things, that has passion for things.
It would be great to get like a breakdown that said Native American girl, 17, not just in any ethnicity, but it would be a Native American girl, and I wasn't just portraying a girl from history. Maybe I was portraying a girl in high school, walking down the street, Native American girl. You don't get that a lot.
There are 562 tribes in America alone. That's not counting Canada, or our, Hawaiian brothers and sisters, Samoan, all the way across. There's no need, that anybody need not, get a Native person for a Native role. There are fabulous, skilled actors out there that have done the work and are ready to work.
I have to just continue to hope that the people who are on the other side of the camera, who are writing the stories and directing them, are willing to open their minds to the possibility of all the amazing people who can tell their story.
Nimo shom, Yahweh hey yo. Niko kom, Yahweh hey yo. Wesh gash, kiki kana wene mishinawa, kiki kana wene mishinawa. Yahweh hey yo. Non gom, kikana wene mini nawa, kikana wene mini nawa. Yahweh hey yo.